All right, welcome to yet another episode of the Crypto Spin Through podcast. First of all, we're talking about the Reserve Bank of Australia issuing a statement on cryptocurrencies and ICOs. And basically what they said was cryptocurrencies themselves, they have minimal risk. However, ICOs have to be compliant with a few things such as licensing and agreements, or they're doing stuff all wrong. So for now, they basically said crypto's irrelevant to them in the grand scheme of things and will only take action against people who are raising funds, which is related to securities. And that also relates to the next piece of news that New Zealand regulators all consider cryptocurrencies securities. Basically, no matter what the currency is, no matter what the utility is, or how the coin is set up, it will be considered a security under New Zealand's law. Also, for major services like wallets, exchanges, or brokers, they don't have categories that they fall under yet. So basically, crypto is going to be sitting in a very odd situation in New Zealand where everything's a security, and any company that's working on cryptocurrencies and either raised money or just had the token, made the token, is considered security, which is kind of odd. We would think only the ICOs would be considered securities, but that's how it is, and we will see how that further develops. They basically said they did this so they could protect people and give the technology some room to grow, but this law is actually pretty restrictive when you really think about it, since it has no nuance of separating the bad coins from the good coins, and the coins that aren't even raising money or didn't raise money in the past yet are still lumped in as a security when they probably shouldn't be if they haven't raised any funds through ICOs. Next up, SEC. Celebrity ICO endorsements could be illegal. Basically, as I said a while ago, very long time ago, that not disclosing your affiliation with the organization or your compensation basically puts you at risk of, in this case, it was some kind of anti-touting law, but I think with another government organization, the example I used was the Instagram models getting in trouble for advertising products without actually saying their advertisements and posing as if they're candid photos. This gets them in trouble because for things like this, you have to let users know that this is an advertisement, or you're kind of manipulating them into thinking you really like this thing, but you're only like it because you're being compensated for it. So this is gonna be a problem. I think for now only celebrities will feel the backlash, but we all know that in crypto there are some people who get kickbacks for either talking about certain things or endorsing certain things. So will they see some kind of legal enforcement? Probably not, honestly. I think it's probably very naive to think these people are going to face any charges anytime soon. But I think as crypto matures, as kind of the blockchain technology comes further, things are going to be harder to hide because this technology just makes everything out in the open. And especially since a lot of these things are kind of not only made kind of through the internet, but really a lot of the activity takes place on the internet, which can be very transparent. Will be always records for things. It was just unrelated, but this is kind of why I think people are kind of suspicious of that New York agreement. It's because it was in person, closed doors kind of deal, instead of in the open forum of the internet, like a lot of things in crypto are. But going back to the SEC kind of news, just really look out for anybody who's kind of in violation of this, because I think you really can, if you really wanted to, you could report anyone for violating what these celebrities did by endorsing something and not revealing that they're getting compensated, and later comes out that they were compensated in coins, discounts, cash payments, whatever. But I guess the SEC is doing this because most crypto is falling in securities, but there is another organization that I don't remember right now. I think it's the Federal Trade Commission or something that also deals with things similar to this. But enough legal things for now. We'll get to more soon. This next piece of news is about Ethereum. Buterin is proposing a modest proposal for a multi-year vision of Ethereum, which is really his input on a scaling debate, but kind of scaling debate with a solution that's exclusive to Ethereum. And it all kind of sums up to creating these ecosystem or universes, as he calls it, where information resides in. So all these nodes would have pieces of information, and I'm guessing to like prevent these informations from being fraud or wrong, there'll be these different universes that kind of all have pieces of information to make up one thing of the network. But there will also be other I guess you could say parallel universes. They'll probably have the same information and will kind of confirm with all the other parallel universes. I'm guessing in a way this will allow kind of information to be picked up as needed, maybe. And the only need to confirm will be these parallel universes confirming with each other. I don't know. I don't think he really revealed all that much about this idea. He just said they're working on it and working on a prototype. I'll be pleasantly surprised if I kind of guess how it works with that little parallel universe thing. I'm not super techie compared to a lot of people in this particular space, but more than an average person. But if I had to guess, what I just said would kind of be how I'd imagine it would work. But we'll see. I'll let you know in the future how this scaling thing works in Ethereum. It's a very interesting concept. I am really interested in seeing how the full picture of how it will work. But it's a multi-year vision. It will be a while until it's a thing, so no rush. Next up, U.S. government arrests and charges a fraudster, Zaslavitsky. I've mentioned this months ago, I think. I know I mentioned this, but at first he was just really a suspect, but now he's been arrested and charged for ICO fraud. So that's one guy. And I've noticed some people either claim that SEC will be coming down with everyone, or they can't do a lot. I think kind of both camps are wrong. I think the SEC will be clamping down on ICO fraudsters, but they'll probably go for the more fraudsters that not only are frauding the ICOs, but probably had a previous history, or it was a very high profile ICO, or someone who kind of similar to last time's episode who are using Bitcoins and something in real life in conjunction for like money laundering basically. But it's really kind of naive to think that everyone who commits ICO fraud or whatever is going to face justice, especially since like the point was made that not all of them are US based, and people who either reside in the US or are US based will be the primary ones who face the wrath of the SEC. But like I've said in another episode, you still are at risk even if you're not technically an American citizen. Stepping in America and being a fraudster could still land you in jail, because there's been a few cases where non-Americans are either currently trying to be extradited to America to face trial, such as the guy involved with the BTCE money laundering thing, or granted, this next example's drug related. The French guy who worked for a dark web website, he was, as soon as he landed in America, arrested. Just keep that in mind. If an American can charge you with something, they'll probably try to do it. Alright. Credit Exec is launching an ICO for a luxury good platform. I really only included this because this is just a rich millennial platform, like peak millennial of not being committed to an item, not buying things to last, just going for an experience and just going through life like that. I think it's a platform that could work, honestly, but the fact that it's only for luxury goods might be either it's boon or a very bad angle for a sharing platform. Next up, Coinbase's GDAX exchange has set out the criteria for token listing. I've seen a lot of people talking about this and how just people speculating on what's the next coin that's going to be listed. And I've really agreed with a few people I've seen with their speculation of how it's not going to be anything that's been on the market for a while, like a year. It's going to be something that came about this year most likely. And an interesting target for speculation was the basic attention token. I'm not sure I can fully agree that that's what's going to be listed on GDAX soon, but I can 100% agree that it's going to be those Ethereum based tokens that will be the next thing listed, and anything that isn't one of those will probably not be listed. Like anything that's 100% a year older, like something that wasn't created this year, will probably not be what's newly listed. I think it's definitely just be the good coins out of this kind of boom that the past summer had. But it's still probably going to be a pretty exclusive club. Next up, Lebanon is issuing its own digital currency, kind of. They're dipping their toes into cryptocurrencies, evaluating how they'll go, and kind of seeing out the risk. It's going to be a slow process. They want to do digital currencies, but they're not going to do it at a fast rate. Next up, you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin shirt has started a conversation. Basically, this guy named with the pseudonym or whatever called Crypto Graffiti, as artsy guy, makes Bitcoin crypto related designs, shirts, stuff like that. Why am I including this in the news? Well, people like this are pretty important to spread the word about this kind of thing, this niche or any niche. you get things to the outsiders, you get the insiders to be able to show off to people and get people interested. And he's even said that the you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin shirt has made people think, because some people don't know you can do that. I mean, I'm sure most people listening know you don't need to buy $7,000 worth of Bitcoin and get one Bitcoin. You can just buy 10, 20. You can buy 100 at a time, and you're still fine. Next up, Coinbase has hit 12 million users, and it added 100K users in a 24-hour period. Overall, Coinbase has gained over 2 million users this year. That is a testament on how fast this industry is growing and how interest is growing. Expect it to go even crazier these coming months, because crypto is just going to get hotter within the next couple of years. And even at sitting at 200 billion, I think we're at right now for the total crypto market. 200 billion is still undervalued. We're not going to be stopping anytime soon until we get to the trillions. And we might hit a hump when we get to like 500 billion, but who knows? I'm pretty confident that trillions is when it's going to start really slowing down. Next up, India is shutting down domestic cryptocurrency exchanges because of a government panel advised it. This is a critical error on India's part, because as I reported last time with China, the only thing that happened was people started moving offshore. They started moving their monies to other countries. You can't stop people from trading Bitcoin. It doesn't work. People will just find other countries or illegal means to trade Bitcoin. The best thing you could do is regulate it so you can easier kind of monitor the avenues that where all the illegal stuff is happening. And trying to eliminate all the illegal avenues is also useless. You should really just be focusing on minimizing, not totally eliminating, because it's impossible. Just try to throw out the worst offenders and just deal with the small things. Big article next that the Tezos founders are sued for securities fraud and potential class action lawsuit. Basically, I think this should be a story that's framed. This was an all-star ICO that people thought were going to be the best thing ever, but it is burning hard. It is an absolute nightmare for anyone who invested in this. They thought they were getting something amazing team, amazing product, but in the end, it's just drama with millions of dollars in the air. And next up, a very interesting article. Could crypto mining provide a low-cost heating solution? So, I think this is probably going to be overall unviable. However, if it turns out to be viable, it'll be amazing. Why? It decentralizes mining. 2, it kind of solves 2 environmental problems by eventually the Bitcoin network will be a very big environmental issue with how much energy it takes to mine. So you can mitigate this with this solution if it actually works, because now instead of using conventional heat, kind of like the conventional way of heating your home, you could have a Bitcoin miner heat your home. It's creating value as you're heating your home, and then boom, you're keeping the network live, heating a home, and the energy that's wasted in doing these things isn't just going to destroy the environment the same it wouldn't make as much of an impact as if you were just mining or just heating your home separately. So, but combining them, you're reducing the impact, even if it still would probably have a big impact, because environmental issues is a whole nother issue. And I will not be talking about how extensive these issues can be. But I think it's something that we should keep in mind because we'll eventually, if not in 10 years, but eventually we'll hit the wall where it'll be very kind of, the environment and mining will be at odds. Like 100% they will be at odds eventually. Like, it's something to think about for the future. But for now, I don't think this plan to heat homes is going to happen wide scale because it seems very situational what areas of the world can use mining as a heating option, because not everywhere will be cold for long periods of time, and in the future large swaths of the area may actually be hot rather than cold. So who knows where that will go. Then China's largest Bitcoin exchange CEO publicly condemns Segwit 2x. The CEO called it a shitcoin, and that's that. However, there's still a lot of miners and big business supporting it. The miners are pretty fickle, miners will just do whatever's really profitable in the end. But support for 2x is really, I don't know why this debate's still going on. I expect this fork to still happen. It probably will still happen. Just hold your Bitcoins in a wallet. Don't have it on an exchange. Because with some exchanges, you might find out that your wallets are, that your wallet has switched your Bitcoins around. So control your Bitcoins so you can avoid the situation of exchanges exchanging your Bitcoin for 2x. And then my favorite topic to always talk about, Monero and the dark web. So Monero is a multi-signature implementation is entering a testing phase. And with this multi-signature new kind of thing added to Monero, it'll kind of add that added security merchants need to ensure transactions go through. So this might make Monero the dark web coin, because Bitcoin can compromise you through chain analysis. So eventually, you research hard enough or you watch the address hard enough, people tend to make human errors and reveal who they are. But with Monero, this isn't an issue. So Monero will 100% be dark web coin. I'm convinced by it. Unless Zcash steps up his game. I don't know how long it will take Monero to really go up in price because of this, but I really expect this transaction volume to rise in the coming year, especially once this implementation is coin-wide rather than just testing. And our final article that we're talking about is how Bitcoin is already more valuable than many national currencies. So if you were ever in doubt, which I doubt, so if you're ever in doubt of Bitcoin's power, Bitcoin's growing capability, of where Bitcoin has already grown, well, Bitcoin is now the 32nd most valuable currency on Earth. And it will grow even more valuable. To put it in perspective, Bitcoin is more valuable than Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand's, and Brazil's currency. Not combined, but separately. These individual currencies are worth less individually than Bitcoin is. So expect the rise to continue because Bitcoin is not limited geographically. There will be money from everywhere pouring into Bitcoin. Expect that crazy 10K eventually. I don't know about 100K. That's crazy for now. But expect Bitcoin to be one of the most valuable currencies on Earth. Hold me to that. It will be one of the most valuable currencies on Earth. When? I'm not sure, but eventually. And that will be all on the Cryptosmith podcast episode for this Monday, the lovely 6th. Stay tuned next month, next year for some interviews. We're starting on that. I've kind of had that moment of clarity where it clicked, where I now know that we're gonna be aiming for some quality improvements again. For anyone who listened during the summertime when I was just starting, and how I aimed for quality improvements, we're gonna start doing those again soon. Primarily next month when I'm done with school. Let's just say that I had a moment of clarity of what I want to do in this life, and it involves Bitcoin, blockchain, and talking to you guys. So expect me to finally get around improving the website. Expect for some sick content. Expect me advertising podcasts more. Expect more guests. Podcasts, more guests on the podcast, guest episodes. Right now it's gonna be every 2 weeks, but if I eventually get enough people and like enough interviews kind of stocked up, it'll be weekly, so I can just do that. Always have a stock of interviews to put out each week. So a lot of things are gonna be happening next year specifically. And I'm glad you guys will be along for this ride. So as always, share this with your friends. Join the Telegram. Throw a few dollars in the Patreon if you want. I don't really care right now. But when we see those quality improvements, I'm going to probably be pushing it a bit more. But until then, see you guys. Hope you enjoyed. Until next Thursday.